We're getting closer and closer to crowning a champion. With only 4 frames left, you Tenno have cast your votes and left your comments. So now we head into the semi-finals of the Warframe tournament. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. My name is llBonkll, and today we take a look at the semi-final matchups of the tourney. A few things to keep in mind: this is the 5th video in a Warframe tourney series that I've been working on, and if you want to catch up, there'll be a card there in the top right that should lead to the playlist with all of the videos so far. Secondly, this is a fully community voted Warframe tourney. The matchup winners were chosen by the community through polls that I've been releasing throughout the last few months. And over time, some frames got to move on ahead while others were left behind and eliminated from the bracket. We've had our ups and downs over the last few videos, with people having strong arguments for both sides of each and every matchup, and some players being very disappointed to see their frame eliminated. But only one can win the whole thing, so we must keep voting. The last thing I'd like to mention before we jump in is the fact that for both of these bouts, since we're getting so close to the final, I'll be showing every single comment. Every single one for both polls, no matter how useful they may seem when it comes to seeing their point of view. Could be a comment that's only one word, could be a paragraph. Everyone's comment gets a chance. So hopefully by the end of this, you can understand as the viewer why some players made the decision they did. And all that said, let's jump in. Left side semi-final matchup first. One that has 2 absolute beast Warframes competing for that top spot. And that matchup is Mesa v Ashe, an aimbot and yeehaw damage reducing champion of the West, battling it out with a see-through assassin that can pump out millions of damage and reach level cap with ease. And between these two crazy frames, only one can be granted an opportunity to take home the championship. And who will that be? Well, today, that frame, according to you, that's right, you and your fellow Star Chart Eviscerators, is Cowboy Lady. Mesa takes home the champion bout spot and defeats our invisible melee powerhouse. I would have most likely picked Ashe if it was up to me, but I've already made an executive decision last video, so I won't be doing that again. The community's choice is paramount, and they have made that choice as Mesa. So let's take a peek at every single comment on this poll from everyone that felt like sharing, starting with all of the pro Ashe comments. Then we'll head over to the winner Mesa's comments. Our first opinion comes from the man whose name must not be uttered, and his comment is extremely long. Like, look at this. Homie wrote a pro Ashe propaganda statement down there in the comments. But we will cover it and any replies that were born from its fruit. So, main comment. What does he who must not be named have to say? He states that Ashe has the cheapest armor strip in the game with his 1, but with other builds it's really more about the slash damage with that ability. Next, he states that not taking damage because of the invisibility is just better than the reduced damage like what Mesa has access to. Like, not taking any damage while invis over slightly reduced. I mean, I could see it, yeah, invis better. As well as that, he also says Arcane Trickery will work with your 4, allowing for even more invis. His next point is that although most people change out his teleport, he finds that it's pretty useful, granting even more opportunities to deal damage. And finally, his very last point has to do with his ult, a crazy powerful ability, and he mentions that this ability is literally just looking in an enemy's general direction and then outputting millions upon millions of damage. He does also mention that Mesa's ult does something very similar. And I think that's a good summary of what Voldemort wanted to say. Sorry, the Ashe enjoyer wanted to say. But that's not the end of this section of comments, as there are 5 replies to this main comment that we must cover. First, GG comes in with the "you just wrote a whole Ashe guide" in the comments. Very cool, not a bad thing. You just know how to play Ashe now, GG, no big deal. Then the main commenter comes back with the "I guess you could say I really like Ashe." Then GG makes his real point, stating that Mesa has aimbot, but you can't move while doing it, and says, imagine if you get snuck up on in Steel Path and one-shotted in the back. Good point, but you can move with Mesa, GG. And Demby here points that out, stating that you can with her augment, and is promptly shut down by GG, saying the augment isn't worth a slot. Okay, that's a whole reply chain, and I'd like to make a very important point here, so listen up. Mesa can move while aimbotting. It's not very hard. It's not going to let you move as fast as everyone else or maybe what you want, but standing still on the ground is not the only way to use Mesa's ult. If you need to, you can get some good velocity with a bullet jump, activate your ult midair, spin around and melt everything if your build's decent, and deactivate the ult before you hit the ground, hit your slide, and this will allow for a no stagger landing and let you just become a roving turret that flies up and spins and melts and then lands. so you don't really have to waste a slot for the augment to be moving. That's just my 2 cents though. I like to do that with Mesa. Let's move on ahead to the next Ashe comment, the only other Ashe one there was. This comment comes from GG, a player who was one of the people that replied to the previous comment. He states that Mesa is boring to play, and you're frozen in place when using your 4. He also said Ashe can reach level 9999 and still melt enemies. Good points, but once again, that stand still thing being a fact of Mesa's playstyle is just a false illusion from people who just haven't tried this crazy thing called jumping. There are 2 replies to this comment to cover. First comes a reply from Maverick Denduri. He accepts that Mesa's 4 can't do max level content without a primer, but that's not why he believes Mesa should win. He says that Mesa should win because she can do level max with muzzle flash and melee, and that's what puts her on top. He also says that if you were specifically rating on if they can do max level content, the only other worthy contender to go against Ashe are Zephyr or Mag. He finally makes the point that you shouldn't build for her 4 if you find Mesa boring, and instead try going for her 2 or Shatter Shield with Exodia Contagion and Muzzle Flash. And then we move on down to GG's reply to this, and he states that Ashe do be armor stripping, and Ashe also just doesn't take damage when he's invis. So he stuck with his original opinion, saying that Ashe is his pick and is more versatile and higher level content. And that's 2 pro Ashe comments and the replies. Let's move on to the comments that mean nothing in terms of reasoning real quick before we move to the pro Mesa comments. And basically the only one here is one that says if Nidus v Mesa would have been close, like a question if he thinks they would have been close. And I don't know, I feel like Mesa still would have clapped. And also he thinks that Xaku will win the whole thing. We will see about that. And yeah, it's not like this comment shouldn't be here. It just doesn't really go to either side of the debate, so just slap it in the middle here. So let's move on to the Mesa opinions. Starting with Yukamana. He talks about how the only reason he was okay with the executive decision last video was because he knew that Ashe would get destroyed in the poll this time around. And alright man, I'm okay with that if you are. There were a good amount of people very unhappy with my decision. Next comes Face McShooty's comment, gotta love BL2. All he wanted to tell everyone was that Mesa's damage is too good to pass up. That was it. I mean, not really a reason to vote Mesa since Ashe can do insane damage as well, but to each his own. Our next comment here comes from Zin Campbell. He says that he's happy Mesa won, but also says that he really enjoys Ashe more, especially with a high crit Zon and Kana. I mean, yeah, you can think one frame is the better overall frame and vote for them while still enjoying the other frame more. There's no rules against that. It was voted as who was the better overall frame, not who you like more, although I think some people missed that little memo. But yeah, I'm glad there's some proof that some people are making unbiased decisions here like Zin. Next up, Maverick makes a comeback with his main comment instead of a reply. And since I'll be showing his comment on screen right now for those that want to read the whole thing, I'm only going to mention the TLDR that he puts at the start of his comment, stating that for people that enjoy disruption and survival, he agrees Ashe is better. But he thinks Mesa is just, and I quote here, just better at the game. Nice man, very cool. And that was our very last comment to mention here. 1.3 thousand votes and only that many comments. So I'm sure there's some Mesa facts that were missed if everyone seems to want her to win. That being said, let's move Mesa up into her finals box and go and see who she'll be going up against in the finals. Because it's either going to be Xaku or Wisp. So that's a strong matchup coming. Oh boy, this matchup was a tough one when it comes to who I would have chosen. If I were being biased, I would give Xaku the dub, but being unbiased, I will say Wisp has some crazy team carry potential. In my opinion, Xaku is better when you solo, and Wisp is better when you are running a long mission with a team. But the poll and the tournament mean only one of these frames can take a shot at the champ title. And with over 1,000 votes cast, you have made your choice. And that choice was the Master of Support and Radiation, Wisp. A cracked support, and in my opinion, the strongest in the game. Now I love Xaku and he's insanely strong, and like I previously mentioned, in different situations I'd use a different one of these two frames, but it looks like the community has made its choice and Wisp will be heading up into her champion match with Mesa. If you were to tell me that the champ matchup was going to be Mesa v Wisp when we started this, I would have thought you were crazy, but here we are. So let's take a look at every comment left on this bout of godly frames, starting with the losers' comments like last time, which in this case is sadly the Xaku comments. Starting once again with the account I keep giving new names, this time we'll call him 3A because that's kinda what the first two things look like, and he states that he's tempted to go with the Thick Witch, but in the end he made the choice to go with the spooky scary Skelly Boy. It's a decently long comment, but the points can be broken down into a few simple things. First, he thinks Wisp is boring. Second, he believes Xaku has much stronger abilities and much more versatility. That's pretty much the general idea, and I'm gonna agree on everything but Wisp being boring. I actually do enjoy to play her, as the speed flower does add an aspect of fun to her kit, letting you go zoom and fire super fast, and with the health flower you don't really have to worry about being shredded away, so you can blaze through the map without a care in the world. Additionally, if you are close to death, you can either activate her spooky mode or just teleport back to your flowers and cause a bunch of scaling rad damage. Anyway, he went with Xaku and had some good points. The boring thing is subjective, of course. So let's move to the replies left on this comment. The reply here is just from John. Yep, just John. And he speaks to the point our original commenter made about Xaku's armor strip. He states that he doesn't care that the acolytes aren't stripped by Xaku because he just mag dumps on them when they're trapped in gaze and then undoes gaze and they die. Interesting, John. Let's move on. Shiroi has a comment, appearance next. Also going with Xaku. Another decently large comment, so I'll be covering just some of the main points. First point is the fact that Xaku offers infinite scaling, armor strip, and extra void damage. His second point was that Wisp is only good for specific missions, and only good for sustaining teammates or possibly nuking. These are some okay points for Xaku, but I'd like to argue that Wisp is not very contained when it comes to what missions she performs well in. She can pretty much run any missions besides Spy with ease. Nonetheless, good points. Let's look at a reply given to this comment. This reply comes from Sci-Fi Freak, who agrees that Wisp is only used for specific reasons, and he wants Xaku. Again, not sure if I agree with the Wisp thing, but everyone gets to have their own opinion, and I'm not going to stop you. Who's got the next Xaku comment? Well, it's Sci-Fi Freak, in fact, with his non-reply main comment. Once again, obviously choosing Xaku, and his reasoning was as follows. He believes that Xaku has insane DPS, and then he goes on to share a build that he enjoys running that involves every duration mod, 2 Archon shards, he didn't say which ones, and Inner Might from Xeneric. Cool build, I'll have to give it a go. But anyway, we must be moving on to our next Xaku comment, and it's our final Xaku comment coming from Ethan Freese, simply stating that Xaku can hold his own while solo, whereas Wisp only reaches her full potential when placed in a team. He also thinks that I was going to overrule this vote and give Xaku the win, but barely anyone appreciated when I did that last video, so sadly I'm going to leave it alone from now on and leave it up to you guys. Now, the comments that didn't make an argument but I'm still going to show. We have, come on guys, we can't let Wisp win. I know why you're voting for her, and let's just pretend we don't know what he's talking about. Next, Fuse here says that he votes for Limbo, and alright, I will have to take a look at the rulebook here, but I'm pretty sure Limbo lost in round 1. Sorry, man. Next is the one saying they can't make a choice because they love both frames equally. And then Finley here says this tournament is decided by noobs or people with lack of experience. No comment. Next, someone that said they were sad to see Octavia ejected from the tourney, but will be alright if Wisp wins. Then finally, we bring it back to Wisp's certain assets. With a comment from Phantom that states that Wisp is getting votes because of her amazing personality. Sorry, I must have a cold or something. Let's get back to the argument comments, heading over to the ones in support of the Healing Master's win. Starting with another comment here from Maverick. Long boy once again, so let me give you a quick synopsis. He believes that Wisp has the potential to scale higher in damage than Xaku through using a primer, 2 abilities, shooting, casting a 3rd ability, and then switching and shooting again. Sounds confusing, and it is, since that was all the detail given in the comment. But bringing it back to the main point, and I quote here, "Give them each time and skill, and Wisp starts to outperform." And that's the main thing I think I want to show here from this comment that you guys should take away, as I think that's his main big boy point. I'm sure Wisp can be very strong, but Xaku will also scale to crazy heights if you know what you're doing. Great points from Maverick on why he believes Wisp gets the vote here. Let's look at 3 replies to his comment. I'm just going to throw them all up real quick. Read through if you need, but basically they are all in opposition of his main comment, giving points of Xaku's power potential and capabilities in missions. Let's go ahead onto our next Wisp comment. This one is quick. He just says he voted Wisp at 69%. Nice. Next, we have a comment from Maddie. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm uncultured and don't know what's up with those accent marks. And he states that he voted Wisp because he likes her supportive capabilities. And since he mostly plays in teams, Wisp seems to work better for him. Following his comment, we have one here from Yuka Mana, who talks about how he thinks Wisp is going to win the entire bracket, but he did just finish building Xaku and does really enjoy him. Very cool, man. I hope you keep enjoying him. Finally, the last comment for the Wisp is from Borderlands Haha Name Guy, and he says that Wisp is the best support and has great AoE damage. He also recommends placing Necros' Terrify on her, and it can be very strong. Gonna have to try that out. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Wisp will be moving on to the next box and the finals box, as we have finally arrived. The next round of voting and the next video will be the champion Warframe of this tournament, picked by you, the community. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. This is our completed semifinals bracket, as this is it. The finals are here. We are there. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like or maybe even a sub, possibly. I have a Discord called Aviator Legion that will be linked down in the description. And thanks for watching once again. Play Xaku 24/7 to cure any ailment. My name's been llBonkll, and good night.